So, long story short, Patrick Bet David responds, right? It have been months since I personally have been reaching out. So, during this time frame, I'm not thinking anything much of it. I'm very uh, familiar and close with the wife, and one of the relatives from the wife's side, and you know, I just kind of left it at that. Like it was a situation where like communication was very brief. It was very on the surface, like, yo, what's up? How you doing? This and that, right? So, long story short, um, they finally respond, right? So now you have to put it in the context of everything that we've been doing in the past few years. Give me one quick second. I'm gonna go on Valuetainer right now so I can correlate the dates because this is gonna reveal a lot to kind of let us know where we are right now. Give me one quick second because this internet is doing. Okay, so let's go direct instead of okay, 3 weeks ago. So let's pull up a calendar. All right, so we have a calendar here that we do, and let's go back. It's not going to be accurate, but let's just measure from today's date. So today's May the 6th, Monday, right? So 1 week is the 29th. Let's go back 1 month. 2 weeks is the 22nd. Change time. No problem. Change time. Okay. So I got the response on a Monday the 22nd. So it's technically been 2 weeks. I didn't respond till Saturday the 27th. No, not the 27th. Saturday the 4th. Okay? So there was a delay on my part by 1 week and 1, 2, 3, 4 days. No, more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. So a week and 5 days. Okay? So of course, we want to take note of that because it's something we want to work on. So if the interview was 3 weeks ago, it was on the 15th. So that means that there potentially was dialogue before the 15th, or during the day of the 15th, or after the 15th, where let's say the delay system, you know, granted the first 72 hours, so that's what, the 18th. Then a few more days to think about it, that's 5 days. Sunday, you sleep on it. Monday, you hit me back. I don't know the exact time. All I know is that it was in the morning. So now there's a few things happening because, for example, on Minect, which is their app, they actually have a system where, let's say, you can join Minect and you can be an expert. So what people don't know is that this is all data research for the development of the app. Connect is a compound word of connecting and emitting. So a minute to connect, right? And at first, when it was first rolled out, it was more exclusive. It was really the core team of Valuetainment. And what they've done now is opened up the platform for other experts in all different industries and fields to become a member and give advice. And of course, they're going to take a percentage because of their platform, but it's a new concept. So now, behind the scenes, what people don't know or don't understand, they can't grasp the concept, is that it's a competition. So they're going to see, which they already announced it more than a week ago, how many people are able to connect, how many people are able to influence or penetrate a specific target market, as an example. And because of that, it opens up a lot of doors for all new entrepreneurs to try to do business with. Now, you have to understand, and let's take it at surface value, right? When you look at Patrick Bet Davis' price per hour, you're talking about 40, 50, $60,000. Yeah, it may be a $30,000 introductory fee, right? It may go up to 35, 40,000 afterwards, but it could easily be more if you're unable to reach an understanding or some type of agreement. So now, where does that leave me? First of all, you have to understand that my business plan at the time had completely changed. Um, and I have been adjusting and pivoting to what was going on at the time. Today, our direction is Shenzhen, China. Our direction is Asia. Our interests, our potential or potentialities are all overseas. And even at the time when we were dealing with hypnosis and Blackstone, BlackRock, Universal, Warner Brothers, Sony, to name a few, we were still debating what direction we were going to take. This is before or during the times of the trips to the Dominican Republic. So what I perceived at the moment was, why don't I just reach out to Patrick and then see if they could negotiate the catalog at a percentage rate that I will honor to this day because I feel that he brings this much value. Now, as we all know, Patrick Bet-David is 30% minority owner of the Yankees, and because of that, it will be a great asset. It's the equivalent of having a shark from the Shark Tank, but with a deeper influence. Of course, he's business partners with Oscar De La Hoya, and of course, we work with the Money team and the whole Mayweather team. And in the article, not only did I mention, I hinted at the idea of reaching out to Floyd, which we've discussed in the past. But I also mentioned Damon Dash because think about it. If we needed somebody that could give us insight, Dame Dash would be the golden key. Even though there are personal issues that I may not want to explore, still as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, knowing that it comes with a package to do business with me, I can't help but to say, well, he is kind of talking to Dame, and he does have the financing to make things happen. But Dame is making moves. Dame is doing the thing with American Music. So I'm working on the network myself, but my network is completely different. So one moment to change your life for it to stay the same. It's all about how I process it and how I manage that information. Because if I just let the opportunity pass, there's no telling how it's going to be in the future. Like I literally can't say anything in the future if things don't pan out how I would like them to. So again, as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, I have to balance out both of these things. So when I release the article, through the article, I'm already making a political statement. I'm already joining the competition indirectly because I don't have the new modern digital platform that is portable that I could definitely use throughout this entire process. So what it does for me is it provides and it presents a challenge. Do I want to continue to do it indirectly and beat them at the top and show them that I can climb the mountain without them? Do I want to bring them with me to China? Do I want to bring it to Floyd Mayweather Jr. and his team, his camp, reaching out to these guys? Um, do I want to just have a sit down, or do I want to just join the competition on the net directly and then compete on that level? So all of these things are important and should be taken into account. All the parameters of every decision, knowing that it's going to come with a package. I already tried to reach out to them. We had a few events in Vegas in February, if I'm not mistaken. That shit was a waste of time. Um, who else? The only other person that I haven't reached out to is Miss Jackie. And Miss Jackie uh, is a phone call that I don't want to make unless there's something concrete on the table that I know that it's going to be like a for sure, they're going to go for it. Now, if I get Patrick Bet-David involved, I already got $1 billion. And with Floyd, it's a phone call that he can make. And then, in a sense, I'm bypassing Miss Jackie, but Miss Jackie handles uh, a different sector of what the company is. So there's still levels to this. Like I could reach out to Ellerby and then let Ellerby present it to Floyd. But then that comes with a package because Ellerby has a background in music. So there is no perfect formula. There is no strategy that, let's say, has been used in the past that can be replicated. This is something that is all new technology. This is all brand new. And, it's like our faith in God, two machetes, and the rest is just the guts to make it happen. Because also, I'm hedging the investment. Like I'm putting up the collateral. I just need business partnerships that are strategic in other fields that I don't dominate myself. So by going to China, so many different opportunities can be explored. For example, with the manufacturing of clothing and footwear apparel, I can insert my NFTs in any product. So that's not an issue. Um, the question is who's going to be first to step up to the plate? Because if I go for the default, which is to just release a series of NFTs at an auction house like a Christie's or a Sotheby's, that bypasses the entire system. But then that comes with a package, just like getting verification from World Guinness Records, which is what gave me the proof of the blockage in every step of the way. As far as the Latin market, you know that we have the Prudential Center October the 2nd towards the end of this year, which, if you think about it, this is like less than a 5-month countdown. We have to think in terms of a 2-month countdown. We cannot try to get prepared for October the 2nd a month before. That's not going to work. So, another thing, moving on, before we go back to the situation of Valuetainment, the business partnership for the tour has changed because the dynamic was first 12 months, 364 days. That has been renegotiated to 5 months. And it's a huge difference because hopefully the month of May and the month of June will be preparation stages for July, for August, for September to secure Prudential. If we even want to take that option, because in a sense, they need to be chastised because they really dropped the ball in March when I first went over there, when I was still negotiating with Hypnosis. And there's another company in the Dominican Republic where Porfirio Pina is the person in charge of it. And there was a limitation, there was a restriction in the bottlenecks of the system. So where does that leave us today? Well, I made the decision to go to Shenzhen. And the only things that I can think about is, do we bring Patrick and maybe Floyd? That would be an ill dynamic. Um, do we present it to somebody like Dame? If we go on the personal, maybe not so much. But on the business side, he has limitations, but he also has potential. So it's like the greater of the two evils. Do we put up with the nonsense and then we have him as a person involved in the project? Do we even want the headache of working with him, which we can establish that is not something that's easy? Remember the sale of the NFT, Reasonable Doubt, sold to Cameron and to Mace. Remember the deal for the podcast. It is what it is, $30 million compared to Gilly's $100 million deal. All these deals have happened in the last few months. Look what's happening right now with Kendrick Lamar, Drake. Academics is the leader in the forefront involved, and so is Joe Biden. So that is the climate of the game right now. While they're worried about that, we're in China negotiating the NFTs and the catalog. And the digital catalog has nothing to do with the analog music catalog, has nothing to do with products and services, has nothing to do with endorsements, has nothing to do with anything outside of that particular negotiation, however big or small it is. Now, there's another advantage into closing smaller deals because smaller deals provide cash flow. Cash flow is going to provide better office space, more connectivity, better transportation. If we can do that, we can go have lunch and dinner and brunch and breakfast with our potentialities, our potential new business partners, also speaking Mandarin, Chinese, Japanese, etc. And all the dialects is very crucial and important. Now, you can't tell people in the team to go do that if they're not on payroll. You can't tell people to go negotiate unless they have a steady income every week or every 2 weeks. So that's another challenge that we're facing because we're in the middle of a court battle right now. So we're in the building phase. Money is well invested, but that money, there's no access to it for X amount of time. Now, I'm already letting all my business partners know there will be no dividends until we reach a profit period. And remember, after COVID-19, it's no longer 5 years. Now it's a 7 year mark. So if we're going 2024, this is an investment that's going to mature in 2031 or 2032. If a business partner or an investment firm is not ready to go through that building process, then there's no need to even approach institution in that matter. There's really no need to do that because all it's going to do is create more bottlenecks, more constraints, more arguments, more unnecessary tug of war. Because as a company, we must be on the same page, moving in the same direction, and at the same time. There is no other way for this to work. If this was something as simple as opening an internet cafe, there's so many formulas that we could follow, emulate, and work on. But this is all new technology. So even the process of not only having access direct to the consumer, but having the exchange where they can use, let's say, cryptocurrencies, that's a whole new infrastructure. You're talking blockchain, you're talking Web3. And in the same way that, let's say, I can offer an artist X amount of publishing, the same can be done on a framework such as Matic and Polygon. And it's not the only networks that we're freaking. You have Monero, you have Tron, you have Cardano, of course, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and any derivative thereof. So these are all the things that we need to take into context because this is not an event. This is a process. This is not like, oh, we're just going to get a phone call. We might get a phone call or email for a meeting, and then that starts the process. Remember, just with Warner Brothers, I was negotiating for 2 years. Now, I proved resilience. I proved that it could actually be done. It increased the value of the catalog. So now they know that I know the increased value per year. And the value is a very decent amount. We're talking $200 million a year. That's $17, $18 million a month. That's a lot of cheeseburgers. So there has to be communication. There has to be patience. We need people like Casey Graham. We need people like Wendy Ding. We need people like Brian Manchon. We need people like Patrick David. We need people like Floyd Mayweather Jr. We might even have to work with somebody like Dame Dash. And it's the reality because you have to understand that he's on the come up right now. We've been in this competition directly and indirectly. Right before I released the NFTs, he was already trying to sell Reasonable Doubt. So he called Ring. And he's also seen the consistency since 2021 because I've been in direct communication even more than in 2016. 2016 is probably the year that we communicated the most. So since then, I think we've had more daily communication in the past 38, 39 months than in that initial 2016 years. So we are growing, and the metric and the dynamic is completely different. Now, just because we're growing doesn't mean that we're not facing challenges. I just had a conversation with a young man earlier that said, Starbucks is down 13%. Who would have thought such a juggernaut would be down 13%? You know how much money that is? It's a lot of money. It's a huge company. This is a huge company. There's a huge problem going on. The only way that those problems can be improved has to be internally. It has to start at the management level. And before we can manage a project or a team or a company or an area of a company, there has to be self-management and knowing exactly the context of where you stand legally, morally. You have to deal with society. You're going to deal with people, different cultures, different education, different religions, different backgrounds, different disciplines. You have to make it all work because you have a product that's universal. All you need to do is build a bridge. That's it. All you have to do is build a bridge. If you have an inefficiency in building that bridge, you're a dead fish in the water. And you'll probably be out of business in 8 months if I have anything to do with it. Because those are the opportunities that I'm looking for in order to take those businesses out. Because the market has a need that has to be sufficed. And if you're not willing to make the perfect cup of coffee, I'll be willing to make the perfect cup of coffee. If you're not willing to write the perfect computer program or platform or website, I'll be able to do it. If I see an investment opportunity where you see no value in it, I will celebrate even harder once that deal is closed. Because before you see a skyscraper, you have to have the vision when you buy the land. And the profit is made in the purchase. It's like cooking. You can't cook the salt out. You can't just put so much salt and think it's going to boil and evaporate. So you put good stuff in, you're always going to get good stuff out. Customer service is the number one key to all successes because COVID-19 took out all the wannabes. All the people that were sustained with lines of credit, they're out of here, baby. So now all new entrepreneurs have to understand the dynamic that you have huge companies worth all the money in the world that lost their entire infrastructure, they lost their entire business, their entire investment. And one mistake, maybe you can manage, but when it's cumulative, when it's at the macro level, it's only going to trickle down. And notice how companies such as BlackRock, they're changing the perspective of the macro and going into the micro, which is an untapped market. Nobody knew that a company so big could focus on it. But at the end of the day, that's really what it comes down to. 13% loss in the first quarter and a half. We already know what percentage that is towards the end of the year. So where's the responsibility to the stockholders? I'm going to let everybody answer that. It takes millions of dollars to open a business like this. And you can build your reputation over 25, 35 years. And in one moment, you can destroy it. Because it doesn't reflect on one person. It reflects on the collective. It reflects on everybody. So if I sleep 2.5 hours a day and I'm reading thousands of books and I'm looking for new ways and new strategies, what do you think the people closest to me should be doing? I don't need to tell anybody, yo, pick up a book. Howard Schultz. You can read it online. Library cards are free. There's library cards all over the world. They're everywhere. So there's no excuse. It's about making the commitment, taking the initiative, taking out the time, because you're literally knocking on doors to build bridges. You have a great product, great service, you're in a great industry. But if you cannot build those bridges, you cannot bring it to the consumer, and the market suffers. It provides the grounds for new entrepreneurs to enter the field. So in this situation, I could take it on the surface and go to Shenzhen and negotiate for my company myself. Nothing is stopping me from doing it. It's still a phone call, email, a text, a meeting, a Starbucks coffee, which they have a different brand over there. And maybe you secure a deal, maybe you don't, maybe you get a partnership, maybe you get an association, but something good can come from it. Looks can be deceiving. Sometimes it's not just negotiating a deal or opportunity. Sometimes you have to speak in their dialect. You have to speak in a way that they understand, that they see the effort you're willing to make to be relatable. Why would I go to Europe and deal with the same politics, magnified, that you see in the United States? Why would I go to Canada if they're far behind even places like the Middle East? It doesn't make any sense. Sometimes you have to go where the opportunity is. So guess what? If you don't want to learn Mandarin, too bad for you. You cannot be a part of this company because that's what we're going to be doing business. That's like somebody going to Latin America and they want to, you know, they want to, let's say, open up investments or a venture capital fund, or they just want to open a business and they don't speak the dialect, they don't understand. How are you going to do business? You can't speak Japanese to a Chinese person. It sounds the same, it's similar, there's a lot of similarities. Maybe Mandarin encompasses it more, but a Vietnamese person is going to have a challenge speaking to somebody from Korea or from Thailand or the Philippines. So a lot of it starts with the actual person, because respect is the minimum you can give a person. It doesn't cost you anything. Customer service is something that should be built in. Everybody is not engineered or designed to win. Everybody is not engineered from the core to deal with the public. Dealing with the public is very, very delicate because the wrong word, the wrong gesture can turn completely a person off. That person can have 10,000 followers on their social media. And with one post, 10,000 people know what happened, when it happened, how it happened. Then those 10,000 people tell 10,000 people more. So 10,000 times 10,000 times 10,000, 13% down in the stock. So when it's $1 million company, that's 130,000. When it's $1 billion company, that's 130 million. When it's $1 trillion company, it's 130 billion. That's a lot of cheeseburgers. And as an entrepreneur, what you're not willing to bring to the market, another person is. One second. Hello, no, okay. Yeah, so, can you hear me? What's up? ¿Cómo estás? I'm having a meeting right now. You starting your day? Okay. All right. Well, I'll leave you a message. Let me finish this because I am on a little tight schedule. But I'll hit you in the afternoon. What time you going to lunch? No, just write to me. Just write it to me. Okay. Have a beautiful day. Okay. I apologize. Okay. There we go. I apologize. I had a phone call from me. Okay. So basically, one moment could change your life or it could stay the same. The choice is completely up to you. How are you going to administrate all the unknown variables and the data points that are given to you? So we're going to do a few modules today, and this is just a briefing. It's not perfect. It's not fully formatted. This is just something to spawn the conversation piece. Remember, customer service, respect is the minimum you can give a person. It doesn't hurt to write somebody's name in a cup. It doesn't hurt to have a smile. It doesn't hurt to emit positive energy because that's all you're going to get back. A consumer that is happier is going to spend even more money. So we can open, expand the sale, and close the sale, and then have a repeat returning client with something that small. This is not, I'm bigger than you, you're bigger than me. This is, we're all one. We're all part of the fabric of a community. There are people that frequent us every single day. There are people that fly from other parts of the world, but they're looking for the same formula. If I go to Starbucks in the Dominican Republic, it has to be the same as the Westman Gretna in Louisiana. If I go to Starbucks in Japan and I ask for a caramel macchiato, it has to be the same. I have to have the same customer service. I have to have the same experience. It has to be the same environment. Why? Because if it's not, it takes away from the company. When it's your millions of dollars invested, you take it more closer to your heart. But the greatest part is that a company like Starbucks will pay for you to go to college. And if you work hard enough, when you come into the company, you come in with stocks, you come in as an owner. You one day can be an owner too. The path is clearly there. For example, McDonald's as a franchise has one of the best management universities for free. All you need to do is work there. But most people look at it on the surface. They only see what I'm getting paid every hour. They're not seeing the long term. But you look at franchises like Wingstop, you look at franchises such as Domino's, look at the percentage of people that start at the bottom and build it up and eventually own two or three franchises. They go from making X amount of dollars per hour or maybe some preferred dividend stocks on every payroll cycle to actually becoming multi-millionaires. So now they understand, damn, it cost me $1.5 million to open this place. You don't want that to be ruined in one moment over a cup of coffee. Anybody can sell you a cup of coffee, but anybody shouldn't be Starbucks, right? You know, there's other franchises vying for that market cap or that market space that is available. Whatever you drop in business, another entrepreneur is going to come and grab. Every business door you close, I'm going to go open. Every business that you create a failure in, I'm going to go and buy that business. I'm going to use that infrastructure. I'm going to remix it and repurpose it and make it my own. You might see an office building in Houston, and everybody's doing work remotely, such as I am at this moment. But I may see a condominium. I may see luxury penthouses. Now, if I go to the market, and let's say I don't even do an Airbnb, let's just say I lease the condominium and then I repurpose them to sell them, it's a completely different market. If I just say, all right, office space is $5,000 a month, what are the changes? I'm rerouting some plumbing, I'm putting up walls, better security, surveillance, people that are managing and administrating a little bit better, things of that nature. Oh, excuse me, miss, excuse me, ma'am, hello, hello, miss, is there anyone I can speak to your manager? Are you the manager? Oh, okay, my love. You see in the first parking stall, right next to handicap, somebody broke some Corona bottles. There's really big chunks of glass. I moved them to the side, but if somebody pulls in close, they could blow the tires out. Okay, when you go out, not where the sign is, but that very first parking spot, I used my foot. I didn't have nothing else. I put it right on the edge, but if somebody pulls in close, it could blow out the tires. So I'm diabetic. Before I forget, I wrote it down in my notes. I'm like, let me tell you. You welcome, my love. God bless. If you would have gave me the broom, I got you, but I didn't have nothing but my feet. All right. So basically, it's those little things that make the magic happen because if every person on the team knows, okay, I can score 3 pointers, but I can catch a rebound, or I can go to the post. If I get fouled, I'm very good at my uh, line shots, right? My free throw shots. So if every member of the team is not just focused on the scoreboard, if they're like, okay, let me catch this rebound, all right, let me have this assist. All right, I see that this person is facing this challenge. How can I help? My question every day to God is, what can I do today to make the dream happen? So even with my business partner, what I tell them is, how can I help you? I'm coachable. I can learn. Is there anything that I can help you with? If there's something that I can help you with, please allow me to help because in helping you, I'm actually learning as well. So everything is connected, everything is correlated because we are one, we're a team. What do we want? We want the business to be successful. Why? Because if we take care of the business takes care of our families, all of our futures, all the things that we want to do. Is there a blueprint to it? No. Sometimes we don't get the trinkets, we don't get the acclamations, we don't get the recognition, but we know what we're building. Maybe we don't build the whole foundation. Maybe we build a pillar of it. Maybe we contributed something that if everybody does that, when you look back over X amount of time, now you see that the structure is that much greater. And maybe what I help you with today will lead to somebody else helping me in the future. Or maybe you yourself will help me in the future. So again, in our society, sometimes we want instant gratification. And it's a human default, I guess you could say. But we also, as entrepreneurs, have to understand that we're not always going to get that. So it may seem like, oh man, you guys are still negotiating. It's been 2 years. Well, you have to calculate. I've been fighting for my rights for 30 years. This legal battle, these negotiations, because that's what they are. They're chess moves. This is not checkers, right? So it may seem that it's just all of a sudden, but people don't see the 30 years, the 25, the 2015. They don't see all of that. They just see the overnight success story. You know, the business that I'm sitting in right now, I remember the business that was here before. And at that time, they were like the marquee business. And just like that, gone. Somebody came in with a vision, repurposed it, rebranded, now it's a Starbucks. Completely different business model, completely different investment. But that company was here 25, 35 years, making millions of dollars every month. So wherever there's a crevice in the economy, wherever there's a need, somebody's going to fill in that gap. So if, let's say, I'm in a market that is surrounded by nightclubs, right? And some people don't like the nightclub scene. Well, I may have the vision to open a lounge. Now people can eat, people can dance, they can listen to music, but it's not a nightclub. It doesn't fall under the same stipulations. I'll give you an example with an investment that I was discussing with my brother. There was a place that we saw that automatically my brother thought daiquiris and a juice bar. But then taking that a step further, what about doing gourmet foods like a Cafe Roma on Wall Boulevard? This is back in the days, over 25 years ago. That changes the dynamic because it's a high-end food that you can get with your choice. You want a daiquiri or you want a juice bar. So you want papaya coconut in a shake? that may change the entire experience. At the same time, the same business during like different business times, right, can completely change. The dynamic can change drastically, and that may be the key to success. It's not just let me get marble floors and make the place bigger and paint the parking lot. No, sometimes it's those little changes, those little implementations. For example, when you when you look at beauty, right? What we consider beauty, some of the best plastic surgeons in the world know that beauty is contained within an inch. So if somebody's nose to top of the lip, if that distance is about an inch, that's considered beauty. The same thing with the body. These plastic surgeons could take anybody and make them look like a superstar. And people think that it's the drastic changes. No, it's the little, we fix this. It's like when you buy a sports car, right? You may change the wheels, you may change the sound system, you may put a champagne tint on it, but that little personalization, if it's done right, if it's at the right frequency, with the right intentions, you're gonna get the right results. So everything is relative in that sense. So with this approach, I can be smooth, I can be effective, I can be efficient, but I can also be respectful. I can drive my point home in one sentence. Communication has never been a problem. So this is a simple, I acknowledge what you're doing. Let's fix it. Let's work on it. It's going to take time, but let's understand at a higher level what small changes we can make that can make the difference. It's like playing golf. 1 inch too far off the ground, you're in the dirt. 1 inch too much to the right, you're in the grass. 1 inch too much to the left, you're in the dunes. But if you hit it right, you got a birdie. You got a hole in one. You know, you could par 96. So these are the positive examples that I want to admit to the entire company to understand. Are we still working on music? Of course. I work out every day, I rehearse every day, send out all the emails, publish the articles, do the podcast, do the radio show, all the social media. Plus, I'm in the public, I'm dealing with the people. I'm checking all my businesses, all my investments, everywhere I go. My family's in touch, friends, business partners, peers, colleagues. I'm checking the industry, I'm checking the markets. I'm aware of everything, but I'm still under negotiation. I still have a legal team handling things that I cannot. I cannot do everything myself. I'm only one person. I only have two hands. Only 24 hours in a day. I sleep 2.5 hours, 3 hours a day. That gives me 21 hours. Those 21 hours, I'm predominantly working out, or working on music, or working on business, or dealing with the family. I have the same 24 hours Warren Buffett has, Ray Dalio, Patrick Bet-David, and the list goes on and on and on and on. When those people of eminence take out their time to share with you the little bit that they're learning, the little bit that they know, it means so much. Because look at the package that comes with it. Look at the entire process to get to that understanding. And this is where we are. We want to think about private jets, but all we have is corporate jets. We're not at that private level. The jet is private, but it's a corporate private jet, right? It's not like it's a personal private jet. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of these potentialities, a lot of these investors, you know what I would ask them for? Office space. You know what I would ask them for? Logistics, transportation, food, wardrobes, technology, whatever the team needs. If we have to buy 200 MacBook Pros, do the math. See how many cheeseburgers are there. If we have to buy 215, no, what is it called? The iPhone 15 Pro Max, do the math. Most people looking for venture capital, they're not going to ask for those things. So they already know from the first meeting, from the introduction, they already know that our approach is completely different. Now, what is social political pressure going to present? It's going to be the same thing. Society is going to ask for the trinkets, right? Everybody wants to get their likes up. Everybody wants this instant gratification. But where's the 25 years of hard work? Where's the 30 years? I've been an advocate for just the music business for 30 years. Author of 12 books. People won't read 5 books. People won't write one book. I got 12. And that's a small part of my investment portfolio. That's just step one. That's to let the industry know, okay, we're serious, we're here to do business. And also, every business example is included in all of the content. Mind you, I have to use all the formats that are at my disposal. So it's not what you do, it's how you do it. You know, small steps, baby steps lead to walking and running and getting on the victory motorcycle. Now, again, every person has to find that spark within their hearts because it's there. 95% of the people, 96%, I think, have it in them. And all it takes is maybe a little motivation. All it takes is a conversation. It could be a smile. Somebody could be having a horrible day. They go to a barbershop, a salon, everything changes. Somebody could be going through a death in the family. They could be going through financial losses. We don't know, right? We don't know at the surface. And you could tell that person, God bless you, have a blessed day. And that makes the whole difference for that person. Everything changes around. They go to an interview, they get the job, they write the resume, it's perfect. They don't hire them at the associate level. They hire them for management. They don't give them a hourly wage. They put them on a salary. One moment. Have a blessed day. How much does a smile cost? How much does a nice gesture cost? You can get bees with lemon, but you'll get a lot more bees with sugar. A bee will make honey out of anything that is organic. Anything. With a little bit of molasses, fruits, vegetables. That's premium grade right there. So I leave you guys all with that. We're going to start the auction in a little bit. We're going to do the Spanish version of the podcast and the radio show. And we're going to continue with finals and we're going to do some modules. All you guys will get everything in your inboxes, emails, texts, and all of the social medias. Any questions, please send them to me directly. And of course, as soon as I make a little bit of time, I'll always respond in real time. May you have an amazing day today. May you conquer everything in your path. And may everything that you touch turn into solid gold bars and precious, beautiful diamonds and gemstones. Always remember to dream big because dreams come true. It happened to me, and I know for a fact it's going to happen to you. This is all the time that we have. We're going to continue with the finals. God bless. And Mr. Johnson, this is being forwarded to the whole team. Okay, now moving on. Let's continue with our finals. Okay, finals week, and this will be extra credit for anybody that has a better foundation. We're gonna see if everybody's been doing their homework. Okay. Um, Give me 1 second. I want this to be special. So you guys open your app and I'll tell you the chapter and we can start. Let's do finding career direction. I know what I could do. Give me 1 second. Because that's the thing. Sometimes the internet is good, sometimes, but we test the network. Okay, we already did intention. Let's go with okay. Let's do decision making, financial decisions. We're going to do cost benefit analysis, which kind of ties in to everything that deals with the franchises, because the reason why we need to have a foundation on that is because what we're going to negotiate with these business partners is to create a new brand, and it's a lifestyle brand, so it makes it a little bit different. All right, everybody ready? Give me one quick second. Hydration is power, hydration is key. Oh, all right, so here we go. Everybody ready? Let's rock and roll. God is good all the time, twice on Sunday. All right, cost benefit analysis. Okay, now actually, let me change mics so that we can rock and roll. That way, there's nobody can say this, that, or all work as a team, right? Teamwork makes the dream work. Not about you or me or I or we or them. It's about all of us. We're the Yankees, we're the Lakers. We are your favorite sports franchise. Okay? Alright. And I never use the word employees. That's why I make sure everybody in my company comes in with stocks. We're business partners. So we work together. Okay? One day we'll get there. So when franchise turns into 12, turns into 144, that has to be the mentality they want. So cost benefit analysis, deciding quantitatively whether to go ahead, also known as CBA, and benefit cost analysis. Do the benefits justify the cost? Imagine that you've recently taken on a new project and your people are struggling to keep up with the increased workload. You are therefore considering whether to hire a new team member. Clearly, the benefits of hiring a new person needs to significantly outweigh the associated costs. This is where cost benefit analysis is useful. Note, CBA is a quick and simple technique that you can use for non-critical financial decisions, where decisions are mission critical or large sums of money are involved. Other approaches, such as use of net present values and internal rates of return, are often more appropriate. About the tool, Jules Dupuy, a French engineer and economist, introduced the concepts behind CBA in the 1840s. It became popular in the 1950s as a simple way of weighing up project costs and benefits to determine whether to go ahead with a project. As its name suggests, cost benefit analysis involves adding up the benefits of a course of action and then comparing these with the costs associated with it. The results of the analysis are often expressed as a payback period. This is the time it takes for benefits to repay costs. Many people who use it look for payback in less than a specific period. For example, 3 years. notice 3 years, which is about a little less than half of what we discussed, which is a dividend payback period of 7 years. You can use the technique in a wide variety of situations. For example, when you are, number one, deciding whether to hire new team members. Number two, evaluating a new project or change initiative. Number three, determining the feasibility of a capital purchase. However, bear in mind that it's best for making quick and simple financial decisions. More robust approaches are commonly used for more complex, business critical, or high cost decisions. How to use the tool. Follow these steps to do a cost benefit analysis. Step 1, brainstorm costs and benefits. First, take time to brainstorm all of the costs associated with the project and make a list of these. Then do the same for all of the benefits of the project. Can you think of any unexpected costs? Are there benefits that you may not initially have anticipated? When you come up with the costs and benefits, think about the lifetime of the project. What are the costs and benefits likely to be over time? Step 2, assign a monetary value to the cost. Costs include the cost of physical resources needed, as well as the cost of the human effort involved in all phases of a project. Costs are often relatively easy to estimate compared with revenues. So look at your revenue figures every single day, every week, and then go back for the last 9, 10, 11, 12 months and do a comparison. If you have to build a chart, build a chart. There's PowerPoints, there's Excel, there's Microsoft Word, there's Google Docs. You have calendars, you have calculators, you have pen and pads, you have post-its, you have highlighters. There's no excuse. Remember, somebody invested millions of dollars to open this business. Millions of dollars. Step 2, assign a monetary value to the cost. Let's establish that 3.5 with logistics, back taxes, and dealing with the land and the property land statutes, right? For the city of Gretna, West Bank, New Orleans, Louisiana. 70056, 70058. Okay. Costs include the cost of physical resources needed, as well as the cost of the human efforts. The human effort involved in all phases of a project. So a business may be in different phases, and it may not be determined by how many years the business has been open. It may be determined by how many years the investment has to prepay that initial investment. Brainstorm costs and benefits. First, take the time to brainstorm all of the costs, the monetary costs. Everything has a value, right? Associated with the project. Is it one franchise? Is it 12? Is it 144? How many is it? How much money is each one invested in? Make a list of these. Then do the same for all of the benefits of the project. How much money is coming in? What is profit? What's the percentage rate? How are we doing on labor? Everything. Can you think of any unexpected costs? Yes, there are known variables. We should have a portfolio or folder just for it. Great. Are there benefits that you may not have initially anticipated? For example, if you had 12 surprises, how many of those could you have anticipated? And use that ratio, that percentage, and add that to your PowerPoint. When you come up with the cost and benefit, think about the lifetime of the project. What's the lifetime of the investment? 20 years, 25 years, 35 years. We already know the previous business was here 35, 36, 37 years. So how do we stand up versus that investment? What did they do wrong where after 35, 38, 37, 38, years, let's say 40 years, they declined to zero? What can we do to avoid that? Is just having a different vision enough? There's only one way to find out. What are the costs and benefits likely to be over time? So how much profit can the business yield for how long before we have a sunset clause where we say, okay, we're selling the business once we achieve this goal? Step two, assign a monetary value. Costs include the cost of physical resources, the land, the building, the equipment, things like that, as well as the cost of the human effort, payroll, employees, supervisors, managers, etc. Costs are often relatively easy to estimate. You can estimate, but to get to the accurate number, it takes a little bit more time. Now, what you're going to do is you're always going to compare with revenue because the cash flow is what keeps the business afloat, right? It's important that you think about as many related costs as you can. For example, what will any training cost? Will there be a decrease in productivity with people or while people are learning a new system or technology? And how much will this cost? So let's get down to the micro, let's get down to every figure, write everything down, process it, and dialogue about it. Let's all nurture an environment where only the best ideas win, where everybody can have a say and a fair voice, right? Remember to think about costs that will continue to be incurred, meaning a perpetuity, right? Once the project is finished. Especially in a franchise, you know that the corporate headquarters is always going to get a percentage that it's like a sales tax. Think about it like a sales tax. Some states pay state taxes and federal, some just pay, federal taxes, places like Nevada, Florida, Delaware, Texas, to name a few. For example, consider whether you will need additional staff, if your team will need ongoing training, or if you have increased overheads. It could be the economy, it could be inflation, it could be transportation, deliveries. The price of a coffee bean goes up, it affects the entire company, like a domino effect. It's one thing is correlated to the next. Even if you want to focus on your district and you're like, oh, I'm only concerned about my stores. Well, what about the company as a whole? Step number three, assign a monetary value to the benefits. Now, if we invest X amount of dollars over X amount of time, what are the benefits? Are we going to have more resources, more human power, new products, new services, etc.? This step is less straightforward than step two. Firstly, it's often very difficult to predict revenues accurately, especially for new products. Secondly, along with the financial benefits that you anticipate, there are often intangible or soft benefits that are important outcomes of the project. For instance, what is the impact on the environment? Employee satisfaction, which I don't like to use the term employee, we're all business owners, or health and safety. What is the monetary value of that impact? As an example, is preserving an ancient monument worth $500,000? Or is it worth $5,000 because of its, I'm sorry, or is it worth $5 million because of its historical importance? Now, we put an estimate of 3.5, 3.8, 5 million is not a bad number. So let's use 5 million just to make it simple, okay? So let's round up. Or what is the value of stress-free travel to work in the morning. I like to push for making sure that my staff has all new vehicles, just so that they don't have a headache in the morning. Here is important to consult with other stakeholders and decide how you'll value these intangible items. Step 4. Compare costs and benefits. Finally, compare the value of your costs to the value of your benefits and use this analysis to decide your course of action. To do this, calculate your total costs and your total benefits and compare the two values to determine whether your benefits outweigh your costs. That cost could be your human effort, it's the smile, it's writing the name on the cup, it's have an amazing day. Welcome to Starbucks. How are you doing? They order a drink. Maybe they want to open the sale with a drink, but we can expand it. Would you like a croissant with butter? Would you like that toasted? Those little changes um, can make the difference. At this stage, it's important to consider your payback time to find out how long it would take for you to reach the break-even point. So breaking even is you recuperated the investment. Now the profits can begin if this system that is in place is still functioning. If it's not functioning, we're going to cut back into that initial investment. And what we want to do is multiply, right? We want the company to grow. We want to take care of the business because if we take care of the business will take care of us and our families and our loved ones, and we'll build the dreams, right? Perfect. The point in time at which the benefits have just repaid the cost. For simple examples, where the same benefits are received each period, you can calculate the payback period by dividing the projected total cost of the project by the project total revenue. Total cost, total revenue, or benefits equal the length of time or the payback period. Here's an example. Custom graphics works has been operating for just over a year, and sales are exceeding targets. Currently, two designers are working full time, and the owner is considering increasing capacity to meet demand. This would involve leasing more office space and hiring two new designers. He decides to complete a cost benefit analysis to explore his choices. Assumptions. Number one, currently, the owner of the company has more work than he can cope with, and he is outsourcing to other design firms at a cost of $50 per hour. The company outsources an average of 100 hours of work each month. Number two, he estimates that revenue will increase by 50% with increased capacity. Number three, per person production will increase by 10% with more working space, more harmony. Everybody's happening, everybody's happy, they're gelling, everything is working in a synergy, like a synchronicity, right? Number four, the analysis horizon is 1 year. That is, he expects benefits to accrue within the year. Here we have a chart of the category, the details, and the cost in the first year. So we have a lease, 750 square feet available next door at $18 per square feet. Cost in the first year, 13,500. Leasehold improvements. Knock out walls and reconfigure office space at a cost of 15,000. Hire two more designers. Salary, including benefits, $75,000. Recruitment cost, 11,250. So if I post something up on a LinkedIn or Monster, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that is an ongoing fee. And all of that is tallied up at the end of the year. Orientation and training, that's $3,000. Day one. So just put it out there. Two additional workstations. Furniture and hardware, we have a budget of $6,000. Software licenses, $1,000. Construction downtime, 2 weeks, approximately $7,500 in revenue per day for those 2 weeks, at a cost of $15,000. Total, $1.3975 million. Benefits. Benefits within 12 months. 50% revenue increase, starting at 195,000, estimated to be $1.95 million. Which, if we reach that goal, it more than suffices, right? And everything is 10 to 16 to 1. So 195,000, 10 is 1.9. It could be as high as 16, but we could use 1.9 million, or let's use a variable of both. Let's say it's 2.5 million, just to make it simple. Paid in-house designers per hour versus outsourcing. 100 hours per month. On average, savings equals 42,000 per month. 10% improved productivity per designer, $58,500. 11,250 revenue per day per week for 10 weeks at a 10% increase of 1125. Improved customer service and retention. Retention. Repeat business. Repeat. Okay? Improved customer service and retention as a result of 100% of the in-house design. That's an extra 305,500. He calculates the payback time as shown below. 139,000, 1.39 million to 3.5, 0.46% per year, approximately 5.5 months, every 5.5 months. Inevitably, the estimates of the benefit are subjective, and there is a degree of uncertainty associated with the anticipated revenue increase. Despite this, the owner decides to go ahead with the expansion and hiring, given the extent to which the benefits outweigh the cost within the first year. Flaws of cost-benefit analysis. Cost-benefit analysis struggles as an approach where a project has cash flows that come in over a number of periods of time, particularly where returns vary from period to period. In these cases, use net present value and internal rate of return, NPV/IRR, calculations together to evaluate the project rather than using cost-benefit analysis. These also have the advantage of bringing time value of money into the calculation. Also, the revenue that will be generated by a project can be very hard to predict, and the value that people place on intangible benefits can be very subjective. This can often make the assessment of possible revenues unreliable. This is a flaw in many approaches to financial situations. Remember, this is a financial institution. Financial situation, circumstances, people, places, and things. So, how realistic and objective are the benefits, values used? Here are some key points, extra points. Number one, cost benefit analysis is a relatively straightforward tool for deciding whether to pursue a project. To use the tool, first list all the anticipated costs associated with the project and then estimate the benefits that you will receive from it. Where benefits are received over time, work out the time it would take for the benefits to repay the cost. You can carry out an analysis using only financial costs and benefits. However, you may decide to include intangible items within the analysis, as you must estimate the value for these items. This inevitably brings more subjectivity into the process. Moving on, chapter 2. Harness consensus oriented decision making model, developing solutions collectively. Hydration is life and is key to success. Looks like the freeze is on me. It goes up. Let that dry out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you guys ready? Let's go. Remember, I only build successful business. Right? Decision making. Harness consensus oriented decision making model. Developing solutions collectively. When attitudes clash, it can be difficult to reach a consensus. You just brought your team together to kick off a new project, but you seem to be getting off to a bad start. The team is struggling to reach an agreement about the right way forward. One, the most dominant member of the team, immediately makes a suggestion and starts talking about its benefits. Catherine argues that her idea is more efficient, and Carrie, who often has brilliant ideas, is too overwhelmed by Juan and Catherine to speak up. You're soon ready to abandon the meeting. If you work in a team, this scenario may sound familiar. It can be difficult to get a group of people to reach consensus on a decision, especially when personalities, viewpoints, and attitudes clash. In some situations, you can cut through these problems with decisive leadership. Our article on the Vroom Jetto Jago decision model helps you think about when this is appropriate. In other situations, you need to find another way forward. This is where Hartnett's consensus oriented decision making, or CODM, model is useful. In this chapter, we'll look at the CODM model and we'll examine how you can apply it when you need to make a good group decision. About the model, the CODM model was developed by psychologists Dr. Tim Hartman and was published in his 2010 book, Consensus Orientated Decision Making. The model uses a 7-step process. The steps are: number one, framing the problem; number two, having an open discussion; number three, identifying underlying concerns; number four, developing proposals, which in my investment portfolio is Romeo; number five, choosing a direction. So many options, so many paths, hard to pick. Number six, developing a preferred solution. Number seven is closing, which is what we all look forward to. By using this model, you can get everyone in the group involved in developing a solution so that each person feels ownership of the final decision. This helps you build a more productive, committed team. We are the Yankees, we are the Lakers, we're the Power Rangers, we're all one, we're the Transformers, however you want to put it. The model also encourages people to come up with creative ideas without fears of being judged. This helps the group develop better solutions and make better decisions. The model is most useful for complex projects and problems where you need to decide on the best way forward and where the solutions to your problem isn't clear. However, you can tailor it to a variety of other situations as well. Tip number one, it's important to remember that consensus means general agreement, not total agreement. Although this model allows everyone to participate in developing solutions, not everyone will always agree with the final decision. How to apply the CODM model. We'll look at how the 7 steps in greater detail and determined by exploring how you can apply it or apply the model with a group or collective of people. Tip number two, don't feel that you have to work through these steps all at once. Sometimes it will take several meetings to complete the process, depending on the complexity of the decision that you need to make. Number one, framing the problem. In this first step, you need to ensure that you have the right people involved in the process and that everyone has the information, the tools, and the resources needed to come up with good ideas. As part of this, identify and define the problem that you need to address. If necessary, using tools such as cost and effect analysis and root cause analysis. You need to decide how your group will choose between options in later stages. HeartNet calls this the decision group. For instance, do you want everyone in the group to agree on the final decision unanimously, or will a simple majority suffice? Our article on organizing team decision making looks at several techniques that you can use to make group decisions. And our article on facilitation teaches the skills needed to lead the discussion. Step number 2. Good morning. Dios lo bendiga, primo. Bienvenida. El programa en español comienza en un ratito, pero aquí mismo lo hacemos. Dios lo bendiga. ¿Cómo está el día de hoy? Bienvenido a Starbucks. ¿Qué vino a comprar? ¿Café? ¿Una comidita? Aquí hacemos cambio de freno, aceite, transmisión, le lavamos el carro, lo que usted necesite, me deja saber y se lo hago. Bienvenido. Dios lo bendiga. Step number 2. Having an open discussion. Next, meet with the group. Present the problem again and encourage an open discussion. Your goal here is to generate as many initial ideas or solutions to the problem as possible. Use tools such as round robin brainstorming, Crawford's slip writing method, or the step ladder technique to get everyone involved in the discussion. If the discussion seems to be in a rut, or your team is generating only safe ideas, use creative thinking techniques to encourage people with fresh ideas. Remember that your objective is to get people to think creatively or creatively and encourage all ideas, even if these seem impractical at this stage. If you work through this step, note down all ideas, removing any duplicates. You'll return to this list in step number 4. Tip number 3. An alternative approach is to ask people to submit their initial ideas and solutions anonymously before you meet face to face. Step number 3. Identifying underlying concerns. The next step is to identify what Hartnett calls underlying concerns. These are the constraints that you need to meet and the problems that you want to solve once you've made a decision. You'll then use this analysis to come up with and improve solutions in the next step of the process. To do this, first identify key stakeholders, including people outside your organization who are affected by the decision. Depending on your situation, who can do this or you can do this by simply brainstorming stakeholders, or you can conduct a formal, a formal stakeholder analysis. Then talk to these stakeholders or brainstorm and list possible underlying concerns for each of them. Again, ensuring that everyone in the group participates in the discussion. Tip number 4. Don't confuse underlying concerns with solutions in this step. Dios me lo bendiga, primo. Nos vemos mañana, ¿ok? Y no se preocupe, nos vemos mañana. Hoy no me saqué la loto, pero mañana seguro. Dios lo bendiga, primo. Mañana temprano, ¿ok? Don't confuse underlying concerns with solutions in this step. For example, if the problem you're trying to solve is to increase the quality of the product, a solution might be to use better components. However, underlying concerns might be to keep costs to a minimum for shareholders, or to be able to use the product for longer for customers. Step number 4, developing proposals. Remember, this is where we are in one of my main investments. Now, using the initial ideas that you came up with in step number 2, your group can come up with proposals that address the underlying concerns identified in the previous step. So, for example, the same way that I can dialogue that we are in the proposal phase, right? And you see me putting these proposals together. Anybody involved with the investment can do the same. Morpheus, peace and blessings be with you. um, República Dominicana, ¿qué es lo que es Detroit? Okay. 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 To do this, go through each idea in turn and encourage everyone in the group to contribute to developing it into a possible solution. Again, it's important that everyone is open minded about the discussion, that everyone focuses on one idea at a time, and that people don't criticize any ideas. By the end of this step, you will have developed initial ideas into more detailed proposals that you can take forward. Don't miss any proposals yet. Step 5, choosing a direction. You now need to decide on the best proposal to take forward. Begin by going through each proposal in turn, asking group members to highlight what they think are the pros and cons of each one. Again, make sure that everyone is involved in the discussion. Finally, decide on the best proposal to take forward using the decision rule that you agreed on in step number 1. Step number 6, developing a preferred solution. The aim of this step is to look for ways to improve the final proposal further. As part of this, look back at the underlying concerns that you identified in step number 3. If there are any concerns that you haven't addressed, look for ways in which you can improve the proposal. For me, this is an ongoing thing. Every single day, every week, every month. Hey, Morpheus, you are definitely very well invested into this corporation. And when we sign this deal, you will get a nice lump sum. We're going to liquidate, we're going to cash you out. Again, encourage group members to raise any further issues and amend the final proposal to address these. Tip number 1, if you're developing a solution for a complex project, it may take a while to refine and amend your proposal and project documents. Tip number 2, depending on the type of decision, it may still not be worth going ahead with the best proposal. See our article on go/no-go decision making for more on this. Step number 7, closing. By now, you should have a solution that most people in the group are happy with. To confirm this, use the decision rule that you identified in step 1 to ensure that there is still consensus to move forward with your decision. Depending on your situation, you can also use this step as an opportunity to ask for everyone's cooperation in implementing the final decision. This cooperation can be anything from simply supporting others as they implement the solution through to providing resources and expertise. Tip number 1, be flexible in how you apply each step of the process. As we highlighted earlier, in some situations. It may not be necessary to work through each step in detail. You also need to be prepared to move back to previous steps if you cannot decide on an appropriate solution. Tip number two, while seeking consensus within a group is important, be aware that people may use consensus as a way to avoid, good morning, welcome to Starbucks, as a way to avoid taking personal responsibility for their actions or decisions. Don't allow this to happen. Key points. The CODM model was developed by psychologist Dr. Sim Hartman and was published in his 2010 book, Consensus Orientated Decision Making. You can use it to make better group decisions by involving everyone in developing a solution. The model is most useful where you need to decide on the best way forward with complex projects and problems, and where the solution to your problem isn't clear. There are 7 steps that you can follow to use the model. Number one, and this is in your review, framing the issue. Number two, having an open discussion. Number three, identifying underlying concerns. Number four, developing proposals. Number five, choosing a direction. Number six, developing a preferred solution. Number seven, closing. Be flexible on how you apply the model. It won't always be necessary to work through each step in detail. Now moving on, let's go check out these markets real quick. We can go to the auction. So we still have to do the Spanish version, and this way I can have everything on cue, have everything ready. So let's try to do top five. Let's go business, and let's rock and roll from there. Okay. Ooh, look who we got here, baby. CNBC ex-CEO Howard Schultz says Starbucks needs to revamp its stores after big earnings miss. You know we got to do that. That's mandatory. Okay, let's go with that. Planters. Now let's not go planters. Stock market today gains. I got to double check if that's going to go in. Qantas. Ooh, okay. Australia's contest to pay 79 million to settle Ghost Flight's case. Wow. How one stretch of Interstate 20 through Alabama tells the story of American war. Okay, let's go. Market Watch, Morgan Stanley. Starbucks in trouble. One, two, three. Let's go. We need two more. Equinox launches $40,000 membership. Let me live longer. Okay. Let's go. Yeah, we can check that one out, and we'll go back to Warren Buffett. Cool. We'll even do Robinhood. See if Robinhood is available. Robinhood shares fall after its crypto arm gets Wells notice from SEC. That's it. That's it right there. All right, let's double check everything, make sure we're good on cue, and we will continue right where we left off. Of course, Future Tech Plus will be coming right up, and then we have the Spanish version. Um, Equinox. Structure this. Buffett, Equinox, there we go. Morgan Stanley. All right, so let's format this. I'm gonna go markets. I'm gonna go Morgan Stanley. I'm gonna go Equinox. I'm gonna go Warren Buffett. We'll close out Warren Buffett. How's that? Cool. All right. So here we go. This is hard. I hate these little pop. All right. Please log on to CNBC.com, our sponsor of the day. Here we go. You ready? Restaurants. Ex-CEO Howard Schultz says Starbucks needs to revamp its stores after big earnings miss. Published Monday, May 6, 2024, updated. 2 hours. This article is brought to you on behalf of Ms. Amelia Lucas from Ex Amelia. Key points. Former Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz said the chain needs to fix its United States store experience to win back customers. Number two, in its latest quarter, Starbucks reported a surprise decline in same-store sales and slashed its full-year forecast. Number three, since the report, the company's shares have fallen 17%, dragging its market value down to 82.8 billion. You know, when we did the first article, they were down 13%, so that's 4% in the last 4 days. 17% is a lot of cheeseburgers. We're talking about $82.8 billion. Howard Schultz, former chief executive officer of Starbucks Corporation, drinks from a Starbucks mug during the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee hearing in Washington, D.C., United States on Wednesday, March 29, 2020. Former Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz weighed in Sunday on the coffee chain's dismal latest quarterly report, saying he believes the company will recover if it improves its United States stores. Schultz, who is no longer a formal or has a formal role within Starbucks, wrote that the company needs to improve its mobile order and pay experience and overhaul how it creates new drinks to focus on premium items that set it apart. The stores require a maniacal focus on the customer experience through the eyes of a merchant. The answer does not lie in data, but in the stores. Schultz wrote in a letter on Sunday evening, posted to LinkedIn. Please check out Future Tech Plus, which is, of course, published on LinkedIn. On Tuesday, Starbucks slashed its full-year forecast after a surprise decline in same-store sales led the company to miss Wall Street's estimates for quarterly earnings and revenue. Since the report, the company's shares have fallen 17%, dragging its market value down to $82.8 billion. Analysts caught off guard by the chain's underperformance have been looking for an explanation for why Starbucks U.S. traffic fell 7% in the quarter. The chain could still be dealing with the repercussions of social media backlash related to its position on conflicts in the Middle East. Bank of America securities analyst Sarah Senator wrote in a research note Monday. Schultz, who turned Starbucks from a small chain into a coffee giant, stepped down from his latest stint as chief executive a little over a year ago. He handed the reins over to Laxman Narasimhan, who previously was CEO of Lysol Owner Records. Schultz also stepped down from the Starbucks board last year. He appeared to offer advice to his successors as he tries to turn the chain sales around. Leaders must model both humility and confidence as they work to restore trust and increase performance across the organization, Schultz wrote. A year and a half ago, Schultz told CNBC that he does not plan to come back as Starbucks chief executive again. Stock markets today, stocks gain as Fed rate hopes fuel continued rally, like Rello Riartu and Inens Firm. Stocks opened higher Monday as Wall Street looks set to build on an end of the week surge precipitated by a softer than expected jobs report that helped spur bets toward an earlier rate cut from the Federal Reserve. The S&P 500 gained 0.6%, while the tech-heavy Nasdaq Composite rose 0.6%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average increased roughly 0.3%. Stocks rallied at the end of last week, getting a boost from a Goldilocks jobs report that stuck the balance in providing welcome news for both the markets and the Fed. More than two-thirds of bets are now on a September rate cut from the Fed, according to the CME Fed Watch tool. Most traders now expect at least two cuts by the end of the year. Those bets could be swung by the return of Fed speakers. Now that free-speaking Fed officials are untethered from a pre-meeting blackout period, New York Fed President John Williams and the Richmond Fed's Thomas Barkin are set for remarks on Monday, while Minneapolis Neil Kaspari is set to speak on Tuesday. In corporate news, Disney, DIS, will take center stage this week as earnings season starts to wind down. Its stock is up around 25% so far this year. Meanwhile, after a 6% post-earnings rally on Friday, Apple AAPL shares were down around 0.5% after Berkshire Hathaway CEO Warren Buffett revealed over the weekend the company had pared its holding in the iPhone maker. Moving on to Morgan Stanley. Okay. This is brought to you on behalf of Ms. Barbara Coleman. Morgan Stanley's Mike Wilson offers a stock market playbook to cope with the cautious consumer. Good morning, welcome to Starbucks. Bienvenida, Dios la bendiga a Starbucks. Buenos días. Morgan Stanley's Mike Wilson offers a stock market playbook to cope with the cautious consumer. Critical information for the United States trading day. Consumers are starting to spend less. Morgan Stanley has an idea of how investors should approach this shift. With the Fed meeting and major data out of the way, investors will have some time to ponder what's happening under the surface of the economy this week. That's as earnings season continues to roll on. And any company dealing with the consumer is in for scrutiny. As one of the hottest themes on Wall Street right now, that of the fed up clientele who appear no longer are willing to pay up for a latte or a burger for that matter. Our call of the day from Morgan Stanley Chief U.S. equity strategist Mike Wilson says with the economy giving off mixed signals, investors should start playing defense where the consumer is concerned with advice on how to do that. Welcome to Starbucks. Good morning, sir. Overall, we would describe the consumption backdrop as bifurcated between high end stability and lower end weakness. Companies are increasingly focused on offering value as the lower income cohort pulls back on spending and trades down, said Wilson. Since the pandemic, companies have been trying to claw back rising costs and mostly getting away with it up to now. Warnings and comments from McDonald's, MCD, 0.19%, Starbucks, SBUX, 0.30%, and Amazon.com, AMZN, 0.32% last week indicated the belt tightening among Americans is well underway. We see consumer staples as a beneficiary of trade down from discretionary categories, said Wilson, noting that relative earnings revisions for a consumer staples versus consumer discretionary have recently turned higher, pointing to upside in relative performance from these. Consumer discretionary companies include the above mentioned plus others like Tesla, TSLA 1.16 in the green, Nike, NKE 0.69% in the green, Amazon, AMZN 0.36%, and Netflix NFLX 2.29% of the green. The shares U.S. Consumers Discretionary Exchange Traded Fund (IYC) is down 3.5% year to date. Well-known consumer staples companies include Procter& Gamble (PG) 0.70% in the red, Coca-Cola (KO) 0.31% in the red, PepsiCo (PEP) 0.51% in the red, and Walmart WMT 0.47, 0.48% at the time of recording. The Vanguard Consumer Staples ETF VBC is down 0.9% so far this year, while the larger consumer staples selected sector SPDR ETF XLP is down 0.6%. Wilson adds that while plenty of consumer companies have yet to report, based on earnings seen so far and how stocks have performed, margin preservation and discipline on expenses seems to be the most important for discretionary companies. Top line stability is more vital for staples companies, he says. Of course, don't expect consumer discretionary to take this line down. Wilson noted that transcript mentions of value by those companies are historically elevated right now. The Wall Street Journal notes that some big brand blue chips are already drumming up new ideas to lure back customers. Elsewhere, former Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz suggests a maniacal focus on improving the customer experience. Note Morgan Stanley's Wilson is among Wall Street's bearish forecasters with a 4,500 end-year forecast for the S&P 500 SPX, though he recently said his team is going to spend less time on those predictions and more on stock selection. He called a 2022 market decline, but was too bearish for 2023. The markets. Stocks DJIA, SPX, COMP are higher, with Treasury yields BX, TMU, BMUSD 10-year bond, and BX10 TMUP MUSD 02Y mostly steady. Gold GC 00 1.06%, and silver prices SI 100 up 3.41%. The buzz. Apple AAPL 0.65%, and Chevron shares CDX 1.91 in the green, where Apple is down. To be in focus, after Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway BRKA 0.48% in the green, BRKB 0.37% reduced stakes in those big companies. Apple is still Berkshire's biggest holding, and Buffett said that it would likely remain the case by the year end at the weekend shareholder meeting. He also completely cut a cost and losing stake in Paramount, PARAA, which is up 5.80% in the green today. Check out Market Watch's live blog recap. Medical Properties Trust, NPW, negative in the red, 0.47%. It's down 17% after tenant Steward Healthcare filed for bankruptcy protection. Luminar Technologies, Laser, LAZR, is in the red, 0.119%. Is off more than 9% after the market census for self-driving vehicles said 20% of jobs will go. Robinhood Markets, Hood, 0.89%, 0.92% of time of recording in the green, disclosed it's likely to get sued by the Securities and Exchange Commission. Spirit Airlines saved SAVE in the red, 9.84%, is sliding after a wider than expected first quarter loss. Proficient PRFT is up 52.84%. The stock is surging after Swedish private equity firm EQT announced a $3 billion all-cash deal for the U.S. digital consultancy. The data calendar is quiet this week, but there will be plenty of Fed speakers, kicking off with Richmond Fed President Tom Barkin and New York Fed President John Williams around 1 p.m. Best of the web. The bar is creeping higher for second quarter earnings. AI engineers suffer burnout as bosses whiplash from one desperate idea to other. How TikTok is wiring Gen Z's money brain. Top tickers. These were the top search tickers on MarketWatch as of 6 a.m. Company by name: Tesla, Nvidia, GameStop, Apple, Palantir Technologies, NEO, AMC Entertainment, Advanced Micro Devices, Amazon.com, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing. By ticker symbol: TSLA, Tesla, NVDA, Nvidia. Tesla's up 1%, Nvidia's up 3.35% in the green. GME, GameStop, in the red, 15.36%. ALPL, Apple, in the red, 0.54%. PLTR, up in the green, 6.22%. Palantir Technologies. NEO, up in the green, 2.51%. NEO. AMC Entertainment, in the red, 1.97%. AMD, Advanced Micro Devices, 3.68% in the green. Amazon, AMZN, 0.28% at time of recording, Amazon.com. TSM, in the green, 0.15%, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing. Moving on to Equinox. Perfect. Please log on to CNBC.com, our sponsor of the day. Equinox launches $40,000 membership to help you live longer by Mr. Robert Frank. Key points. High-end fitness chain Equinox is launching a $40,000 per year program aimed at improving overall health and longevity. Number two, Optimized by Equinox is a personalized health program that includes everything from personal training and nutrition plans to sleep coaching and massage therapy. Number three, is part of the fast growing market for longevity and wellness, where the fields of medicine, biotech, fitness, and nutrition are merging in the quest to slow the effects of aging. Signature signage outside of Equinox Gym location in New York by Michael Nagel, Bloomberg, and Getty Images. High-end fitness chain Equinox is launching one of the most expensive gym memberships in the world, a $40,000 per year program aimed at improving overall health and longevity. Equinox is teaming up with lab test startup Function Health to launch Optimized by Equinox, a personalized health program that includes everything from personal training and nutrition plans to sleep coaching and massage therapy. The program announced Monday is part of the fast growing market for longevity and wellness, where the fields of medicine, biotech, fitness, and nutrition are merging in the quest to slow the effects of aging. It's really a paradigm shift in how we're able to live with vitality and avoid suffering, said Jonathan Swerdling, co-founder of Function Health. It deals with what's above the surface, your abs and glutes, which you can see in the mirror that are great. But it also deals with what's below the surface and what you can see and what you can't see in the mirror. And that's revolutionary. The optimized program starts with a battery of tests. Function Health will test members for 100 biomarkers, everything from heart, liver, and kidney health to metabolic and immune systems to cancer markers and nutrients. Equinox will then run its own battery of fitness tests, including VO2 max, strength, and movement range. The tests are repeated twice a year. At Equinox Concierge pulls all the tests and data together and helps the member design a personalized plan to improve their overall health and fitness. Each member will have a core team that includes a fitness trainer, a nutrition coach, and sleep coach, as well as a massage therapist. The optimized membership includes three 60-minute training sessions per week with a top level trainer. It also includes 2.5 hour sessions a month with a nutrition coach, 2 half-hour sessions a month with a sleep coach, and one massage therapy session per month. In all, the program amounts to 16 hours a month of coaching and training, according to Equinox. It's the same formula, one or an active, where you are given a team of top experts in all these different verticals to design a program based on all of the data that we collect, said Julia Kling, Vice President of Strategic Partnerships and Business Development at Equinox. The move will mark a major test of Equinox's continued efforts to expand beyond fitness into the broader health and wellness business. which has become a booming market among the affluent. The company recently closed a new $1.8 billion funding round that refinances $1.2 billion in existing debt. It said its performance last month made for its second best April in company history. Equinox is planning to open new clubs in Philadelphia and the Pacific Palisades neighborhood of Los Angeles later this year, bringing its total locations in the pipeline to 27. The company recently operates 107 locations globally, according to its website. Team Set Equinox has always focused on the four pillars of longevity: movement, regeneration, nutrition, and community. I sometimes joke that we've always been in the longevity business and the science is catching up, he said. The new program will cost $3,000 a month for a minimum of 6 months. The fee doesn't include an Equinox gym membership, which brings the total to about $40,000 or more for the year. It's a human first, highly luxury service meets coaching program, Clean said. The optimized program will initially be available starting at the end of May in New York City and Highland Park, Texas, and will eventually roll out to other states, according to Equinox. Members will be able to train at Equinox Elite E-Clubs, which are more like private gyms with higher membership fees. Swerdling said Function Health's mission is to help people live 100 healthy years. The company's own program costs $499 for the test of 100 biomakers. Yet demand is so strong that it has a wait list of more than 200,000 people. He said Function wanted to partner with Equinox because they're the leader in the category. He said Function's data is most useful when it can be applied, which is where Equinox, with its personalized fitness and health programs, comes in. Living 100 healthy years doesn't happen inside of a doctor's office, Swerdlin said. It happens in your daily decisions. And it also happens with the way in which you exercise. And Equinox really helps close the loop on that. Robin, one quick second. We'll be all set to go. Things are going to Robinhood gains 2%, erasing early losses following SEC's Wells notice. The trading platform previously ended support for all tokens that were named in SEC lawsuits against Binance and Coinbase. Here we go. Let's do this quick survey. Clear this stuff up. Here we go. Here we go. Give me one quick second. Let's type in just like my neck. I get these requests for other people's investments, and I do my best to help. But I have my own thing. You know what I mean? It doesn't help to be an expert for the money. And I take it with stride. I really appreciate the opportunity. You know what I mean? to be a expert professional in me, help him out as best as I can. Oh wow. Okay. Give me one quick second. Let me fill this out so I can submit it live so that we have a data point. We have a known variable and we have full documentation that we implemented these traits at this time. Been giving you all the stock tips the last 3 weeks. This little run that just happened, man. All right, so we took the survey. Once again, shout out to Coindesk.com for sponsoring this work. So this is brought to you on behalf of Mr. Ayom Ashraf. Robinhood gains 2%, erasing early losses following SEC Wells notice. The trading platform previously earned support for all tokens that were named in SEC lawsuits against Binance and Coinbase. 10 years of decentralizing the future. May 29th to the 31st, 2024, Austin, Texas, the biggest and most established global hub for everything crypto, blockchain, and Web3. Register now. You guys can do it on the website. All right, here we go. Robinhood, ticker symbol HOOD. The popular trading platform received a Wells notice from the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) on Monday, May 4th. Oh no, I'm sorry, May 6th. The notice came in on Saturday, May the 4th. The stocks paired earlier losses and rose about 2% on Monday. On May 4th, 2024, RIT received a Wells notice from the staff of the SEC. Give me one quick second. I hate these little button things. On May 4th, 2024, RHC received a Wells notice from the staff of the SEC. The staff stated that the staff has advised RHC that made a preliminary determination to recommend that the SEC file an enforcement action against RHC alleging violations of Section 15A and 17A of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, as amended, Robinhood said in a filing on Monday. In a press release, Robinhood took more of a combative tone, saying the company had already decided to provide certain tokens or products that the SEC called securities in past actions, calling these difficult choices. Robinhood Chief Legal Compliance and Corporate Affairs Officer Dan Gallagher, a former SEC commissioner, said he was disappointed after trying to work with the regulator. We firmly believe that the assets listed on our platform are not securities, and we look forward to engaging with the SEC to make clear just how weak any case against Robinhood Crypto would be on both the facts and the law, he said in an investment. Wells notices are preliminary warnings informing companies that the SEC believes has enough information to bring an enforcement action against a company and usually lead to such actions by the regulator. The company said that the potential action from the agency may include a civil injunctive action, public administration proceeding, and/or a cease and desist proceeding, and may seek remedies that include an injunction, a cease and desist order, disgorgement, prejudgment interest, civil money penalties, and censure. revocation, and limitations on activities. Previously, Robinhood ended support for Cardano, ADA, Polygon Matic, MATIC, and Solana, SOL, on June 27th. The three tokens that were named as securities in the SEC lawsuits brought against Binance and Coinbase. Very interesting. Very interesting that they would say that they were considered tokens, I'm assuming at the time. Wow. Major, major. Let's repeat that one more time. Previously, Robinhood ended support for Cardano, ADA, Polygon, or Matic, MATIC, and Solana, SOL, on June 27th. Amazing. Learn something new every day. Good morning, sir. Welcome to Starbucks. How you doing? Peace and blessings be with you. Always good to have you. Okay. So now, let's rock and roll with Mr. Buffett, right? Warren Buffett reveals the news no American taxpayer wants to hear as the government tackles rising debt. Here's what it means for you. Please log on to thedailymail.co.uk. Number one, the declaration comes as the U.S. is hard pressed to address rising fiscal deficits. Number two, the national debt recently hit 34 trillion, about as big as the economy. Citing certain financial advisors, he said a federal tax hike is likely on the horizon. So let's put that into context. Let's go 18 out of 24 trillion out of a potential 34 trillion. That's going to give us true market value for today. So do not forget to do those numbers and also show how you got your results. Got Alex Hammer for the DailyMail.com. Warren Buffett. Hold on, let me pause this thing right here. It's gonna mess with my back. Okay. Warren Buffett has said the experts and what he expects the U.S. government to increase taxes rather than reduce spending as the country struggles with its mounting national debt. So, increasing the taxes instead of reducing spending, that really makes sense. We need to dive more into that. The declaration delivered Saturday comes as the U.S. is hard pressed to address widening fiscal deficits as the national debt recently topped 34 trillion, an amount nearly as big as the entire U.S. economy. More concerning is the fact the Fed and other money-minded officials have no plan in sight, paving the way for the Berkshire Hathaway's boss unsettling prediction. The Oracle of Omaha aired his prediction at his hallowed hedge fund's annual shareholder meeting, attended by some of the top CEOs in the country. There, the conglomerate reported its collection of business generated some 11.2 billion of operating earnings, up 39% from the year before. Despite those results being a sign of a relatively robust economy, the 93-year-old, who is valued at more than $131 billion, said he believes a federal tax hike is on the horizon. I agree 100%, especially with an election, which you would think would be the opposite, right? Which is destroying everything. Warren Buffett has warned that he expects the U.S. government to increase taxes rather than reduce spending. The 93-year-old is seen here, Fortune's most powerful women's summit in Washington, D.C. in 2005. Declaration delivered Saturday comes as the U.S. is hard pressed to address widening fiscal deficits, as the national debt recently topped 34 trillion. Unbelievable. We're going to do a reaction on that as well. I think higher taxes are likely, he said, pointing to how the Congressional Budget Office has estimated in its latest long-term budget projections. Federal deficits will rise to 8.5% of GDP in fiscal 2054 from the 5.5% seen today. So we're talking what, 30 years and an increase of 3%. That is horrible. 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 Okay. They may decide that someday they don't want the fiscal deficit to be this large because that has some important consequences. Buffett added. So they may not want to decrease spending in and real pay. The unprecedented problem comes as U.S. budget deficits are expected to dissipate if and when tax cuts introduced in 2017 are renewed next year. But given current market conditions, rate cuts remain uncertain and inflation also remains stubbornly high. These factors led to Buffett's Berkshire reducing a stake in Apple, one of the many blue chip manufacturers, home builders, insurance companies, or retailers in its stable. As a result, Berkshire reported a $135.4 billion holding in the iPhone maker at the end of the first quarter, down from $40 billion. Good morning, welcome to Starbucks. How you doing, my love? You look so beautiful today. So beautiful. I just, you made my day today. That's gave me all the energy I need. Have a blessed one, my love. Go on, Sam. The move quickly became a topic of discussion as the meeting unfolded in real time, with Apple CEO Tim Cook, a high-powered figure station at his hallowed hedge fund's annual shareholder meeting in Omaha, CBD. Beautiful pictures too. You guys should check it out. Remember dailymail.co.uk. There, the conglomerate reported that its collection of business generated some 11.2 billion of operating earnings, up 39% from the year before. So in 1 year, they improved sales by 39%. 50% is the goal. They're already there. We're what, May 6th? Amazing. National debt, 30 something trillion. Okay. Despite those results being a sign of a relatively robust economy, the 93-year-old who is valued at more than 131 billion said he believes a federal tax hike is on the horizon. I think higher taxes are likely, he said, pointing to how the Congressional Budget Office has estimated in its latest long-term budget projections, federal deficits will rise to 8.5% of GDP in fiscal year growth in 2054 from the 5.5% seen today. This is like it's like a shotgun blast. That's it. That's what it comes down to. Despite the more than $40 billion sale, Buffett assured the crowd of thousands in Nebraska Apple is an even better stock than American Express and Coca Cola, two of the other wonderful businesses in Berkshire Hathaway's portfolio. He said, unless something changes dramatically, Apple will continue to hold the distinction of being Berkshire's biggest position. Glowing praise coming from one of the most respected minds in the country when it comes to finance. He added the iPhone released in 2007 was one of the greatest products of all time and hinted that tax implications played a part in the sale, as whether he was worried about the rapidly rising U.S. debt. Chair, despite his age, said what really concerns him was the fiscal deficit and was now larger than the treasuries market, which itself is nearly 27 trillion. So that puts the catalog into a better perspective if we go 27 trillion versus 24. Good morning, welcome to Starbucks. Pointing to the US dollar place as the world's most foremost reserve currency, he theorized. My best speculation is that US debt will be acceptable for a very long time because there's not much alternative. He added while the main focus right now may be on the Fed's next step to quell inflation following a litany of interest rate hikes, the bank's looming fiscal policies could be the real issue. Jay Powell is a very, very wise man, he said, referring to the central bank's top official, but he doesn't control fiscal policy. He added, while the main focus right now may be on the Fed's next steps to quell inflation following the litany of interest rate hikes, the bank's looming fiscal policies could be the real issue. Pictured Fed boss Jerome Powell, whom the billionaire also mentions by name. Jay Powell is a very, very wise man, he said, referring to the central bank's top official, but he doesn't control fiscal policy. Throughout the day, Buffett also spoke about his age and the prospect of a success. Have a blessed day, man. Thank you for coming to Starbucks. Throughout the day, Buffett also spoke about his age and the prospect of a successor. When asked, he assured shareholders the company's future was in good hands and said Greg Abel, his appointed successor and vice chairman of Berkshire's non-insurance operation, should take over capital allocation where, whenever the need arises. When you've got somebody like Greg and Ajit, why settle for me? Buffett said, referring to Ajit Jain, Berkshire's vice chair of insurance operations. It has worked out extremely well. Buffett also cited the changing of the guard that occurred a few years back, Apple, when Cook took over, for longtime boss and iPhone visionary Steve Jobs. Buffett made it clear that the structure of the firm is in place. Jay Dennis, Gene Jacques, founder and chief investment officer at Ocean Park Investments, told Bloomberg of Buffett's words Sunday. It's going to become more important for shareholders to ensure the board of directors and managers to keep the structure intact. They are smart people and are not afraid to write to the CEO to let them know how things are going lately. Amazing. Unbelievable. Whether you guys have it. You guys have the market with the modules. You get everything that we needed. Now I have to download this Berkshire Hathaway speech so that we can keep up with what's going on in the market. So I want to thank you all for your time. Have an amazing day. For today, may you conquer everything you path. May everything that you touch turn into solid gold and precious and beautiful diamonds and gemstones. Always remember to dream big because dreams come true. What happened to me, I know for a fact it's going to happen to you. We never say goodbye. We always say see you later. We'll see you on the next one. God bless. And I am your host.